others recently in July. What was the meeting like? How did he seem to you? And what is your honest, but you're an honest guy and you're a tough talker. What is your honest assessment of his performance as president in the last 4 years?
I start with a bias. I love him. I did not start out loving him, by the way. I supported Hillary Clinton back in 2008. So it's not like, well, I've always been with Obama. But I, just as a citizen, saw what 2008 was like. And oh my gosh, everyone I knew was looking to see if their homes, their life savings had been knocked out, whether or not they could afford to pay the mortgage on their homes. I mean, it was like the banks were in trouble, everything. And I figured no one's going to be able to fix this. And even though we had a Congress where even McConnell, the head of the Senate, said our number one priority is to not agree with Obama on anything and to beat him in the next election. Even with that, we were able to save the financial industry. So at least now we have our life savings mostly back, if not all back. Save the auto industry. Pass a stimulus package, which wasn't large enough, but at least it's a start. And thank God passed the Affordable Health Care Act, where 30 million more Americans today have health insurance than that would have health insurance without that. 30 million.
But Jerry, look, here's flipping it on the head.
So I'm happy with him. Yeah.
Yeah, but you've got a country that's $17 trillion in debt or something now.
Yes.
You've got 8.2% unemployment.
Yes.
So you've got a country really still hurting very deeply financially, both as a nation and individually amongst people who've lost their homes and jobs. And they're blaming Barack Obama. They're saying, listen, you came in on this huge groundswell of I'm the hope, I'm the future, I'm going to fix this. And for these people, he hasn't fixed it.
Well, no. Is he perfect? No. But we can't, you have to finish the sentence. He's not a dictator. We didn't elect a dictator. Number one, he doesn't run the world, so he can't be in charge of Spain or Greece or what's going on in the world economy. He deals with a Republican Congress, which we just said is not going to do business with him, it's a miracle he passed the Affordable Health Care Act. That was a miracle that it passed. Now, let's hope it stays in business. But, so no, he hasn't been perfect. In meeting him and in listening to him and talking with him, asking questions, whatever, for an hour and 15 minutes, I think it was, I'm blown away. Bill Clinton was more engaging. With Barack Obama, he was the coolest guy in school. You know what I mean? If you were in high school, he was just the cool. He is so calm and collected. And I go back to that day, evening, he was telling jokes at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, while knowing in the back of his mind at this moment is the plan going through with getting, and he was going to, with getting Osama bin Laden, and then he goes back and goes down in the basement of the White House where, you know, where they look at them, and they're in communication, and he's made of steel. This guy, sometimes I don't know what goes on inside. He's absolutely cold when it comes to doing what has to be done, and he's not an emotional, crazy guy.
What's his biggest fault?
Is that sometimes he's too cool. Is that America is a very boisterous nation, and we are boisterous often in our happiness, in our anger. We yell out, you go to Europe and they say, oh, here come the Americans, and he's not that. And sometimes to communicate, you have to elicit that passion. It can't just be poetry. It has to be, you got to feel it. Bill Clinton could feel your pain, and you believed it. It wasn't fake. He really did. You could make him cry telling you a story about your family. That isn't part of Barack Obama's personality, but his decision-making has been rational. And all my life I've been saying, since I've been old enough to follow politics, how can we live in a country where not every American has health insurance? Shouldn't that be the most basic thing? And thank God we now have it.
Well, and also thank God we still have the Springer Show. When we come back after the break, 22 years of the show that you